you can find money anywhere. And my brother kind of always drills that in my head, because I'm always like, as we're going to get these properties, I'm like, damn, do we have the funds to do this? Like next property, like he's like, bro, there's money everywhere.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Moving the Mountain, a creative leadership podcast. Today's guest is Nick Pacheco. Or is it Pacheco? Sir. Let's find out.
It is Pacheco.
It's Pacheco?
It's Pacheco. It's Pacheco.
Really? I've been saying Pacheco for a long time with your brother.
Yeah, you and everyone else in Rhode Island.
Oh, he never corrected me.
Yeah, we stopped doing that. You know, grade school, it was like correcting every single teacher. We were very prideful about our last name because our father was super prideful. So it's like, my name's Pacheco, say it right. And then in Rhode Island, there's so many Pachecos, so it became a point where we're just like, yeah, we just got to let that go.
Pacheco. But it is Pacheco.
It is Pacheco.
Nice.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, Nick here is a photographer, portrait photographer mostly, but a wedding photographer. And recently just left a career.
Yeah. Thank the Lord.
Yeah. So that must have been tough, but a necessary step. So what was that like? You were a carpenter. You were in the carpentry industry for what, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. Yep.
Wow. And you had kind of worked your way up. You were doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good. You know, there's like a ceiling in carpentry, right? There's only so high that you can go. And I kind of, in my company, got to the highest point that I can go, which was just being a foreman in the field. So on, commercial jobs, I'm leading the crew and doing all of that stuff, being the boss there. After that, you can become a superintendent for a company. That usually goes to a lot older men than myself. So we already had people in place for that. I knew that I wasn't ever going to get there because I didn't really want to be in the industry that long anyway. As soon as I got my foot in, I was already ready to get out, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, right? They want to, sorry, I had to adjust this desk slightly askew.
Just a tad skew.
Just a tad askew.
I feel so far from you, Sean.
I know. I was noticing that on the podcast. I was like, we need a shorter table.
Just a little shorter, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
We could turn it the other way.
No, that's too close. Then we're in each other's face. It's like, wait a minute.
But I think that's like, I feel like that's a lot of people's, they're kind of just raised to kind of be in that 9 to 5, raised to get a job. Even though there's not a lot of security in it, they're raised to think that there's a lot of security in that. And it's really hard to escape that. It's really hard to take that next step out and say, okay, I'm going to go break into this. It's weird because it's talking from like my own perspective, but like, it's a little bit different because you had a wife, you had a kid,
right?
Or two kids.
I have one kid and I have another one coming.
Yeah.
But
so that must feel a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different, and that's what I was going to kind of touch on is like, when you're secure, right? Say you're young and you want to become an entrepreneur and you don't have bills, or maybe you still live with mom and dad, or your bills are very minimal where you could take that sacrifice and be okay, or you have maybe a plan B, or you can go live back at home with mom and dad, and all those kind of things come into it. So when I realized I wanted to have my own business, which is, when I was younger, I never saw that happening for myself. But when I realized it, I said, man, I got to get to a point where I'm able to do this. Like right now, when I realized that at that time, I wasn't able to. I still had so many things going on. I had a mortgage on my house, which I still have, of course. I have my son, my wife. And I was like, all right, what do I have to do? Okay, I need to start saving some money up. I need to, get things in line. We made a great relationship, me coming over to move mountains and being able to shoot here. So that was definitely a huge benefit for me, getting out of the carpentry industry and getting more into the photography industry, which I love. So there were a lot of things that I had to think about. But then again, I was like, man, if I wait any longer, what am I waiting for? You know? It's like, it's now or never. Just take that step, make that scary leap of faith and just go with it. And hey, either it works or it doesn't, but at least I try my best. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Yeah. And now you and your brother, how old's your brother?
He is 32.
32.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause you guys do also real estate. kind of
it's a business as well.
Business,
Yeah, it's an LLC
on the side. And he's been doing it for a while. I mean, he's been doing multifamilies.
Yeah.
And now you guys are kind of doing this Airbnb. And I was really shocked to hear some of the numbers that you guys are doing on these Airbnbs in Providence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was amazing being able to take that step with my brother. My brother's been trying to kind of get me into the real estate game for a long time. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the resources, you know, and then thank God the real estate market just went crazy in the past 4 years, and I ended up getting like $140,000 worth of equity on my house that I bought in 2018. So I took that money and I invested it into a property that me and my brother found together. He kind of found it. He got the deal. I invested the money and did a lot of the construction work too in the house. And we were able to start a business just like that. You know, we made an LLC, which is Pacheco Real Estate, which is a real estate investing business. So, you know, at first it's over near PC, the property. So at first it was like, okay, let's get college kids in here. Let's charge them crazy amount of money and let's make some money off of them. Obviously you have to deal with major repairs every single year. So we're like, what are our other options? You know? And our neighbor just happened to be an Airbnb host, a neighbor of that property. So she filled us in on how much money she was making, and it was a no-brainer for us. We're like, what? Let's go. You know, let's get into it.
So and you know, the PC neighborhood, it's an okay neighborhood. It's not like a crazy, it's not like the East Side. So, you know, what can a property do over in, like, you know, just an average property in an average neighborhood? Like, what can you put up with real Airbnb over there?
Well, the thing is, that's not an average neighborhood.
Oh, okay,
because the thing is, it's right next to Providence College, right? 3 blocks away. Right. So an average neighborhood is like a neighborhood that I live in, you know, that my house is in.
So you can't just put an Airbnb in any neighborhood. It has to have some kind of draw. So with that, it's the college.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think geographically you have to really map out, if you do have a property and you want to make an Airbnb out of it, you have to really map it out geographically. Hey, is it going to work over here? Like, what are people coming to town for, right? Because that's what you're going to get. You're going to get people who aren't from Rhode Island, or who maybe they are from originally, but they moved away or something. But you're getting people from out of town to come and stay at your place. So why are they staying in that area? Well, at PC, they're coming, you know, for graduation. They're coming to bring their kids to visit the school. We've had people book to do that.
Oh, doing a tour?
Yeah, just doing a tour, staying for the weekend. And then we have people who come over for business all the time in that area, because that area also is 5 minutes away from everything, right? You're 5 minutes away from Federal Hill. You're 5 minutes away from downtown Providence. You're 5 minutes away from the mall. You're 5 minutes away from a lot of places. So it's kind of like central area where you can make some money on Airbnb. But I think because it's so close to PC, it gives it that, you know, that more appeal,
right,
to get people in the house.
So what can you like project in a home like that?
Well, what's cool is the Airbnb has a website called AirDNA. I don't know if Airbnb owns that website, but there's a website called AirDNA. So you basically put all your information in that website, and they let you know how well your Airbnb will do. So we did that with both properties that we have, because we have 188 and then we have 184, which is the one right next door. That's a 2-unit that we're turning into a 3-unit, which we plan on Airbnb as well. So we did the AirDNA. AirDNA came back and told us we're going to make $80,000 per house. That's phenomenal to me. You know, we look at that, we say, wow, is this for real? But that kind of crunches all the numbers for you. Obviously, they have some great piece of technology in that website that crunches all the numbers.
And that's totally free?
Yeah, I think, I actually, don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's free.
Okay.
Coco did it. He hopped on there. Somebody told him about it. Go on AirDNA. And also our property manager who takes care of our property, she ran the numbers through AirDNA as well, because they give you numbers as far as like what you should price it. Yeah. And all of that.
So that AirDNA, 80,000 in a year. What's a mortgage on a home like in that area?
So if you look at the comp in that area, which was another zealous reason that we were like, oh yeah, let's get this house. Let's, you know, the comp in the area is all 500,000, 600,000. Big numbers, because they're all triple deckers, right? Yeah. So they're all, it's all college kids that live in that area. Right. After you get like past our house, our property, our 2 properties, you go a little bit further down the road, it turns into just regular Providence residents. But for that for that block that our properties are on, all college kids, which can be a problem because they're very noisy. But yeah, so we have it in that area. What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
So what's the average home value in that area?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you're doing 80K, I mean, can you scoop up homes in that area for 300?
Yeah, so in that area, 300 is unheard of, really. You know, with a lot of those houses, because like I said, they're all triple deckers. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, they're all triple deckers. Our house is the only single family house on the block. I think for the next like 3 blocks, only single family house.
Yeah. Well, I say that because like I was looking at Newport and they get a home on there. I think it's 1.5. Yeah. Beautiful. You know, be great for Airbnb. But I'm thinking like, all right, what is that really going to rent for? Even if it rents high, you know, $1,100, $1,200 a night, you know?
Oh yeah, that'd be phenomenal.
It's seasonal, right?
Absolutely.
So to cover the mortgage, I think it was like 110 just to cover the mortgage.
Oh yeah, that's big money.
So that's it's like you gotta, and if you don't, then like you're upside down on it. So it's like you got to be in that sweet spot where it has to be overly profitable, just in case. Like you got to be able to run it conservatively,
right?
So
right.
That, you know,
that's tough. You would have to do the math, right? So say 6 months out of the year, you have $1,000 a night there, 6 months out of the year. You do that math, see what that equals out to. Can't crunch the numbers in my head right now. I suck at math. But,
well, I mean, if you rented out full capacity, right, for 6 months, so it'd be 30 grand
a month.
That'd be 30 grand a month if it was 100% full.
Booked. Yeah.
And then times 6 is what's 6 times 3? 180,000.
Yeah, 180,000.
Yeah, so you make 180. So with that, I mean, yeah, you'd be clearing 60, 70,000.
Yeah, and there's other ways to get your house rented in the winter months, right? Say you're in Newport. There's other ways that we look into as well, like me and my brother, because we know that this house for the summer is gonna book out on Airbnb a lot more than it is in the winter time. We've been told by a property manager around October we'll start to see it kind of slow down. But we have other things that we're looking at, like there's insurance companies when say a family's house burns down or something like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they'll pay you outright to keep the family in your house. And because it's a 5-bedroom house, we have that availability to be able to have a whole family in there if need. So we actually had somebody contact us like a week ago asking if we can, provide.
Now, do they do that right through Airbnb or they contact
No,
you?
they contact.
How do they do that?
My brother talked to somebody. A little networking. My brother talked to somebody who said, hey, this is what I do at one of my properties. It'd be great for you. And I'm pretty sure the money's very well.
And that's like a site that you get on?
It might be. I don't know. I don't know entirely. I just know that that's another avenue that you can take is going after, insurance companies that are doing insurance claims for people who are losing their houses. Maybe it burnt down, maybe a flood happened. They need to go somewhere for 3 months.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you kind of get in those big numbers, you really got to make sure that you're at least covering your nut, and then also have some extra.
It's got to be profitable, right?
It's got to be profitable.
It has to be.
But I think like that's why I'm always like a little like alarmed. It's like you're doing great numbers, right? Compared to like a Middletown home, right? Which is like beautiful, redone acre of property,
right?
Compared to, Providence by PC, kind of making like relatively the same amount of profit.
Yeah.
Or not, or even maybe more.
I'm going to say, I don't think so, just because when you said $1,200 a night for this house in Newport, right? 1.5 million, I think you can make like $2,400 a night. I think it gets that outrageous, especially with the wedding industry. You got couples coming in. They're spending big money. Their parents are spending big money.
It makes sense because the hotel in that area is probably, a suite.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the Brent Hotel, a suite is probably in the thousands.
Right.
For, 1-2 bedroom.
Right.
Then it's like $500-600 a night for
no
like
kitchen,
a 1 bed.
Nothing.
Yeah. So this has 4 beds,
beautiful
basement,
kitchen, backyard,
huge
patio, fire pit.
You could probably put a pool in.
Wi-Fi. Everything that you possibly could. You have a house to yourself. So it's completely.
Be nice as if you got some nice cars, put them in the driveway. And it's like you can also rent the cars on
You
Turo.
could do that. That'd be nice.
Right?
That'd be super nice.
It's like,
I'm sure they do that in Miami. I got to tell you, because they rent Ferraris out there and supercars out there all the time to people.
Have the Tesla charger in the garage and people come in and just use it.
People are very crafty when it comes to making money. Like now I think we're in the world right now where people are finding different ways to make money every single day. That, for example, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do an Airbnb and then I'm going to put nice cars out there and they can rent the vehicles too. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's being done. There's so many ways you can make money.
So $2,400 a night. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense versus, all right. So if you had 4 people, you had to get at hotels, that's $2,000 a night. Or you could get an Airbnb, have way more space.
Look, I'll give you an example, right? Yeah. I'll give you an example. Somebody that I used to know used to live in a house in on Point Judith, right? Narragansett. They went to URI. Them and 5 friends, college students, rented out this house in Narragansett for the entire year that they were going to school, 4 quarters or 2 semesters, whatever it is. They were paying $2,500 a month, and that's 5 of them, each paying $2,500 a month. So this person who owned this house in Point Judith was making insane money on these college kids. This is a big house, really nice. So could you imagine what they could charge a night? Like this guy's making, $10,000 or more a month off of these college kids. If you turn that into an Airbnb, a summer home or something like that, and you Airbnb it, you can make big money in places like Point Judith, Newport, Middletown. And then, like I said, you bring the wedding industry into it. Like we've had many conversations about, these people spend a lot of money on these weddings. You know that. And I know that just for the little bit of time that I've been here, Yeah,
it's an insane amount. Man. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm going to check out that Air DNA because I feel like that's a nice tool to have.
And what's good about it is it gives you the big number, and then it gives you what you'll make after everything else, right? After fees and everything else. So the big number came in at $120,000 for each property that we have. And then it gave us all the fees, take out all the fees, take out whatever percentage Airbnb takes plus our property manager. You're looking at $80K.
Yeah. Now, does it take into consideration, you could have a house right here and then a house right next to it. And this house could be totally redone, modern, beautiful appliances, all that stuff. House next door hasn't been remodeled since the 70s.
Yeah.
Does it take into consideration like, oh, this is way more appealing?
It might take that into consideration. I don't know about Air DNA. I think you'd have to go and look at exactly what the formula is.
Or maybe it's just more generic, like the average of what those neighborhoods are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that neighborhood is, like I said, so the neighborhood is pretty much owned by like 3 people. Like that neighborhood, the whole area over there is owned by a couple different really big names.
Yeah. People with money, they
buy everything.
They know
all
how to
the
make
properties.
Money.
Yeah. They buy everything. Some guy sold like a bunch of properties over there for like 80 million not too long ago. You have 02908 who's over there. You have Strive that's over there. They're buying everything. They don't care what it looks like. They're going in there. They're, buying cash.
Who are these people? Who are those places?
Strive is I'm not going to talk about anybody that I don't know, but Strive is a well-known real estate investing. I don't know if you call them a branch company, whatever, that has come into the game. They've been here for a little bit, but in the PC area, in the Elmhurst, Providence area, they buy everything. So we were actually very lucky. We're not supposed to be in that neighborhood. Me and Pacheco Real Estate is not supposed to be in that neighborhood. And we somehow managed to get 2 properties. My brother is a wordsmith. He's really good at what he does when it comes to making deals, finding deals, and all these other things. Very good guy to talk to. And he communicates really well. So he somehow swindled those 2 properties. And like I said,
he finds them quick. Every time I talk to him, he's closing on a new property.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least trying to. Like he'll just be like, yeah, I'm going to close on it. Like, because the thing is, you pay us, I forgot exactly what it's called. Like to get a purchase of sales, right? You pay a little bit of money. Maybe it's $500 or something to basically say that house is yours. You're going to buy it. Then you can make a decision after that. You just don't want that property to go to anybody else, right? So you secure yourself. You say $500, this property's mine. It's not really mine yet, but I got the purchase sales, and then you make a decision. We've done that before because there's so many ways of real estate. You can wholesale, you can flip, right? You can buy and hold, which is the game that we want to play. We just want to buy and hold. Flipping is not really the thing that we want to do.
And that's all just based on your goals, right?
Absolutely. For me, real estate is longevity, is security. I don't plan to be a millionaire off of photography. which you are, right? So it's like, no, but I like what you've done is incredible. It's crazy. You know, you're leading the wedding industry in Rhode Island and probably a lot of other states as far as wedding photography and what you're doing with your business. And it's very hard to do what you're doing.
It's extremely difficult, I think, to scale anything, but I think there's a ceiling with it. I think at a certain point, you're probably going to spill, you're going to tip that board of quality, versus volume. And I don't really want to ride that.
I hear you.
Down. So I think, if you have very ambitious financial goals, I feel like real estate is probably the way to go. You're just making like bigger deals, bigger transactions. Yeah. Especially if you get into like, multi-units and things like that.
Yeah. And that's the goal, that's the goal. For me, it's not like financially, I don't need to have millions and millions of dollars. I just want to be financially free and be able to travel the world with my family. That's always been my main goal, is just be able to have more time.
And what do you need to do that?
Well, what you need to do, there's actually a video that I watched where they tell you the exact amount of money you need to make to be able to do that, right? Whatever. I just know that I just want to be able to have passive income, right? And the best way for me to have passive income is through real estate. So I want money to be coming into my bank account on the first of every month or whatever day it is. And I just want it to be coming in.
You probably need 20 grand a month.
I think it's more.
Is it more than that?
Yeah, I think it's more.
Really?
I think it's more. There's
to travel the world?
To travel. Well, I want to travel the world and be financially free as well. So traveling the world is cool and all.
How much freedom do you need?
I need freedom where like,
I don't know why I keep looking at the camera. This is the only episode I've done it. So.
it's just like, how much freedom do you need, huh?
It's like a Seinfeld episode.
But no, I think it's for me, like I said, financial freedom for me is just like being able to travel, spend more time with my family. It costs a lot because I have bills, I have a mortgage, I have a child, I have another child coming. I want my wife to be able to stay home with my children. I don't want her to work. So I have to have income for her as well. And real estate for me is like, it's a no-brainer. It's like, that's the way to go. I can do what I love with photography, have my own photography business, do weddings with you guys, have that, do what I love, have that passion, and then I can make some big money off of real estate, hopefully in the future. That's the real goal.
So you think it's more than 20,000?
I think it's more than 20,000. Yeah. 20,000 is like,
that's $240 a year.
Yeah. That's nothing. That's nothing. Let's not forget about taxes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's not forget about taxes.
Yeah, you're right.
So 240 turns into 120 instantly, right? Pretty much.
What are you projecting that you need? Like 500?
What, a month or a year?
A year.
I think to be financially free and be able to travel the world, more than 500.
More than 500?
Yeah. You got to get in the millions for sure. 500,000 a year.
I almost did it again.
So you're thinking 500,000 a year as far as far as net, right?
Take taxes out of that. So it's more looking like 300.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you're thinking like, okay, you're making 500,000 a year and you're making more than that, but after taxes, you're making 500,000 a year. That's pretty nice. That's really nice. But you got to be making $1 million to make 500,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know
about that.
So nowadays, $1 million is nothing.
That only happened though in like the last 2 years. Cause it was like $1 million was a lot of money. And then like, it was almost like overnight, $1 million is not,
Well, it's just outrageous to live nowadays.
It really is.
It's absolutely outrageous.
You get like a single family shack and
you get a single family shack in Rhode Island.
$500,000
is a joke. Yeah. You get
Rhode Island's insane. I mean, if you go to like, I've been looking at like Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Nice homes going up and they're pretty cheap.
No, you got to look in other markets. For me, I don't want to build another, like I want to build my next house, right?
Yeah.
My forever home, we'll call it, me and my wife.
Do you want to stay in Rhode Island?
No, absolutely not.
Where would you go?
Maybe right over the border because I want to be close to family still. So I'm thinking Connecticut.
Okay.
You look at land over cheap. Yeah, it's about a third of what you pay over here for land.
Yeah.
So
it's a long drive though. Connecticut to Rhode Island, it's a long drive in.
Yeah, but we're you know what it is. We're from Rhode Island.
Right.
So every drive is long.
Yeah.
But you go to other places, people commute 2 hours every day.
Yeah. And not needing to commute.
Passive income.
Yeah.
Why do I need to leave my house if money's just coming in?
Right.
Coming in.
Right.
Other than going
But what would you do? You're right. You'd probably have to do something. You're not going to do nothing.
No. I do photography.
Okay. Just focus on that.
Yeah. I do photography. And like I said, photography, I love it. I'm super passionate about it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the art of photography, and I enjoy, and I'm also just an extrovert, and I like to be around positive energy. That's why weddings is such a great thing with me, because it's a great positive day. You go in there, everybody's happy, smiling. I'm used to coming from an industry where everybody in the building is miserable, right? Angry, just miserable men. So
yeah, I worked in an office, and I feel like the energy in an office usually is like this bottled up, passive aggressive,
ready to pop.
Yeah,
everyone
just waiting for someone
the
to say their own
tension.
thing.
It's like,
there's a ton
on.
of tension.
But it's understandable, because they got, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, every one of those people were drilled in their heads by their parents. Hey, 9 to 5, go to college, get a job, get some debt on a house. That's it. That was the name of the game for most of the world for a long time.
Well, I mean, instead of college educations, I feel like our parents should have been buying houses.
Yeah.
It would have been a 100%. Way better investment. And, you could have, on $100K, you probably could have bought 4 houses for your kid.
And 10 times it by this time.
Yeah.
Easily.
In the last 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they would have had their retirement fund, then put that in like an S&P or sell it off or rent it or Airbnb. College has been like the most useless investment for most people.
It really has. I'm glad I didn't invest. It's funny. I went to like CCRI, and I went to Bristol Community College real quick for a couple of classes. I've never been able to do school. Like, school is just not me.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
And just failed miserably. Like, I passed my classes, but I was just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, what is it actually going to benefit me in life? It doesn't correlate with anything that I actually want to do.
Right.
It didn't. Like, it was like I was taking classes to, feel better about myself, I guess, intelligence wise. Like, oh yeah, I'm a little smarter now. Cool. Like, but I'm spending money. I'm taking these classes.
Knowledge too.
It was just so useless. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sitting in school was unbearable, especially sitting in college. It was like absolutely unbearable. I just felt like my life was dwindling. My time
I hear you.
It was just dwindling before my eyes.
Yep.
And I was paying them to watch it go.
And that's the most important thing, is time. And that's what I've come full circle to realize that in my life. Like, I've lost so many people in my life at such an early age that I'm very aware of time. And that's why, leaving my career, it was like, okay, what's more valuable to me? My time and my happiness, or money? Because that job was good money. Not really great money, but $100,000 a year, cool.
Secure. Everybody needs a carpenter.
Benefits, all that. But being miserable every single day, wasting 8 hours every single day of just being miserable, angry, it's not good for your mental health, number one. Number two, like, you only have so much time on this planet,
right?
In life. So it's like, why do I waste my time doing something that I absolutely hate? Am I going to do this for the next 30 years? No way. There's no way in hell I'll do it. So then I just was like, you know what? I got to find a way out.
Well, with this access nowadays to knowledge, right? And the knowledge that we're kind of talking about, like this practical knowledge about real estate, which has always kind of been there, but not to the extent that it is. It's right in front of our face. It's, and
everybody wants it now.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because it's so accessible nowadays and it's so available to us, where we didn't really know any better, 5-10 years ago, do you think the rules of the game will change? They can't have everybody, right?
I think
it was almost the knowledge was secret knowledge, because you can't have everybody living free, right? You can't have everybody living
no. They want people to suffer. Absolutely. You need people
to haul the trash. You need people to build houses. You need people to put in sewers. You need people to filter water. These are really important jobs in society. So it's like kind of set up in a way, it's architected in such a way where it's like, absolutely, this is a necessity. So it makes sense. But now that it's so this knowledge is so accessible and so many people are breaking free, we won't go Andrew Tate here and say people are breaking free from the matrix, but in a way,
I think so. But I also think that, unfortunately, not everybody is as intelligent as the other, or has this, or will use that knowledge the same way as a lot of people just don't take chances, right? I have grown up with so many people that are still doing the same thing. I'm sure you have, right? People that you grew up with, and they were like, either like, they were doing one thing at that time and they're still doing the same thing, or doing something in that vicinity. Like, some people just don't have the will, the courage, the strength. And that will always be like that. You'll always have people that are on drugs. You always have people that just aren't just aren't cut for it.
And I think, I think to not have to work, you have to work really hard.
Absolutely.
And so,
and a lot of people don't want to do that. Correct.
And I learned that today too. I bumped into somebody and they were doing this. It was an idea that a couple of friends of mine had.
Yeah.
Probably 2021. And they rallied a couple of their friends together. They were doing it, but the effort that they put in was like so minimal. There's like 3 or 4 of them behind this idea. This guy's one idea. He's already got a place up. He's on there. He's opening in a few days.
Oh, wow.
And he was actually in our business crew that we do. But he left his family business of like one of the trades.
Okay.
And went into this, and I was like, that's crazy. So there are people, it's like the idea was a good idea.
Right.
But the people behind the idea
didn't execute. And that's when it comes down to it. You know, that's huge that you just said that. Because one thing that me and my brother said when we made Pacheco Real Estate, we're like, listen, if this fails, the only person that we can blame is us. There's nobody else. If your business fails, the only person you could blame is you. You have a huge team now. You have a great group of people working hard with you. So collaboratively, obviously, but you're the head dude. You know, you're the head guy. You're the top of you're the top of the pyramid. So it's like people don't execute.
Pyramid falls up.
If people don't execute, and that's a huge problem. And I looked at my brother. I said, bro, we got to make sure we execute on every single thing we do. Can't talk about it. We got to just be about it and execute. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people come up with the greatest idea. They say that the first person to come up with the idea usually isn't the guy, right? It's usually the next guy who really makes everything.
Execution is everything. And I say that to like, you know, my top guys here.
Right.
Like, an idea, if you're having a great idea, great. Like, because if you can't, you got to be able to execute on that idea.
Right, absolutely.
You got to be able to bring it across the finish line. If you can't do that, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people, it kind of separates the entrepreneur from the employee.
Right. And I find myself being there still. No, you're right. You're 100% right. It does separate the entrepreneur from I don't know what I am at this point, right? I never knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, or if I am one. I didn't know I was going to have my own business. I didn't know me and my brother were going to start our own business. I had very little, like, you know,
sorry, I always get a little paranoid.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I have very little like faith in myself with those things. I thought I was going to be a person that just had to work every day, you know, and that's what was in my head. And then I was like, this got to be more to life. And I said, you know, and then I executed. Like I was like, okay, this is what I have to do to be able to leave this job. I left it, and now I'm here. I'm doing my photography business. I'm doing my real estate business, and I'm trying to execute as much as I possibly can. But I'm still stuck in that area of like, you know, this is really hard. I didn't realize how hard it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's extremely hard. I thought I was going to have more time. And now I'm like, I have so many things I need to do for my own business.
And the things can always be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like the amount of knowledge that I need to gain as far as marketing, all of those things that come with owning a business, a photography business,
finance side.
Everything. Like, I'm just like, I'm so behind, but I'm like, listen, it's okay because I just started, you know, I just came into it. I don't have all the time in the world, but I have a little bit of time. You know, most businesses, they say, don't really start making money until 5 years later. So whatever, I'm just going to keep grinding, I'm going to keep trying my best, and that's all. But nowadays, it's funny that we were just talking about like the knowledge is out there for everybody, right? Nowadays, there's more millionaires than there ever has been before.
Right.
You got young kids. There's a kid that goes to my gym. He comes in with a McLaren every day, you know, and these are kids that are just on YouTube learning things and then just putting it to work, whether it's stocks, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's real estate. You know how many young people are buying properties nonstop, or they're starting a business?
Someone just called in on the Dave Ramsey show and he's like, I'm doing e-commerce and I'm making, I don't know what it was, $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
And he hadn't told his mom. He hadn't told his parents.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't, he's
Really?
like, she's kind of traditional. I don't know if I should tell her. I don't know if she's going to make me quit.
Right.
And so, these kids with crypto and NFTs and e-commerce,
they're absorbing the knowledge more than ever. And what's happening is you're seeing less people go into the trades. Nobody wants to work in the trades anymore.
Yeah. So it's like, what is the outcome? Because obviously there's a percentage less.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
It might not be everybody, but there's definitely a big percentage less. And I don't know, maybe that's a good thing with the development of AI, and maybe everything just kind of works itself out organically.
I think chaos. Is yeah.
And is being a millionaire really going to matter? Like, if
it's
world's burning down.
Well, it's just like, I think this is the problem. Like, people are way too focused on money in my eyes, right? Like, if you don't have if your plan is to just make a ton of money, you're tripping. Money's not going to make you happy. We can see that through history, that people have had tons of money and still struggled mentally, still struggled physically. Like, money is not the answer to everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But one thing we do know for sure is something that runs out, and it's time. Time runs out.
Right.
So what are you going to do with the time that you have? Are you going to waste it doing something that you hate, that makes you miserable? Or are you going to try to find something else to do?
Yeah, that's true. It's like, maybe it's how you spend your time. Do you enjoy, and not every day is, pleasant, right? When you have your own business. But I'd much rather be doing what I'm doing right now than what I was doing previous. Absolutely. I really enjoy what I'm doing. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of how you spend your time.
Yeah, I think time is way more important. I think people need to realize that more. Don't focus on the money thing. Money, there's a million ways to make money.
Right. You
got to want it. You got to execute, right?
And I never, like, when we started this, like, I never really thought it'd be as successful as it has been.
Right.
And I was used to not having money.
Right.
There's a time where I was just like, I'll probably end up homeless. It's a very good chance that I could, because I didn't like to work. Were you willing to
be homeless? Were you willing to be homeless and still follow your dreams?
Yeah, because that's how I was just like totally, but I was more like a musician. So I was just like, I was really trying to make that work. I was, playing in subways and was down in Nashville recording and things like that. So I was always very adamant about, I always had a strong sense of like, life is brief, and, I want to just kind of do the things that really make me happy.
Right.
I like playing music. I like writing music. So that was like a big focus.
And that's what separates you from a lot of people. And I think that's what separates me too. I'm like-minded in that way, where we have that appreciation of life. We have that thing in our head that's like, hey, you can do more, you can do better. Not everybody has that. Like I said, people just let time go by, and they just, it's routine. I get up, I go to work, I go home, I'm miserable.
Yeah.
It's like,
and maybe it is having that strong concept of death, where it's like, if you're hit with that at a young age, I had a friend pass away I think I was like 14, 15. So I don't know, maybe it's, maybe having that. I know you had that experience. So it's just like, I always kind of felt that when I was probably 18, 19, I was like, this is a brief life.
Right.
So it's like, why would I spend it? I mean, I was slicing deli meats and things like that. These are all good things. I mean, they help society. They serve other people. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think.
There's just more to life. And it's not, and it's okay for you to say that.
And I think the outcome of that too, right? So it's like, when I was working in a deli, it was like, I didn't mind the fact, I liked helping people and that kind of thing. I mean, some people were a little bit more curmudgeon than others, especially about the
wow, this is a great piece of meat.
The thickness of their meats, or the thinness, the width of their meats.
Yeah.
But I was broke.
Yeah.
I was like, I have enough money just to go to work and come back home. And I was living in my parents' house.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, well, I'd rather just, be broke and be happy.
Imagine people that never feel that though, right? They never feel that sense of like, man, I don't have anything. I think that it's crazy to say sometimes, but I think that everybody needs to go through real trial in their life, like real struggle. It builds so much character.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of people in my life that haven't gone through that, and they're just completely different. They're completely different. They don't have that sense of urgency to get things done. Like it's just a complete different human to me. But when you meet somebody who's gone through it, or gone through struggles in life and different trials in life, they're a different human.
Right.
They're completely built different. So I think I don't want people to go through bad things, But I think it's very necessary to like really have to deal with the stressful things in life that life brings us,
right,
to build you to be the best person that you could possibly be.
right.
And
you need adversity for that.
For sure.
You know, without it, it's like you're not going to grow. And oftentimes, like, you know, I've been put through a lot of things just in the last 7 years of the business, things that I would have never said, yeah, let's have that happen.
Right.
You know, and they were terrible, you know, when they kind of, you're like, Jesus.
Right.
But then afterwards, once you get some time in between and things have like settled, you're like, oh, I'm really thankful that I went through that.
Absolutely. Cause you learn, right? We learn from everything.
Yeah. And you also learn about yourself. You learn like, oh, I can go through this and like be okay.
Exactly.
You know, like I'm going to get through this and like, I'm going to come out the other end. And then that builds like your tolerance.
Absolutely.
Cause I would also like ask myself, like how did the CEO get to be CEO?
Yeah.
You know, like how do they learn that?
Right.
And it's kind of just by going through probably a lot of very difficult things.
Oh yeah. And I think a lot of CEOs are incredibly stressed out and they've gone through a lot of things and they've also worked really, really, really hard. I don't think anybody who owns a business and is at the top of the game right now, just like kind of stride right through it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's always a ton of trial and error. They might have failed 15 times before they were successful that 16th time. Which happens a lot. You know, the gentleman who owned the business that I was working for in the construction industry, he had 3 companies. You know, he had 3 businesses, all 2 of them failed, bankrupt, you know, 0 money.
Those stories are always wild.
And then the third one is a gold mine for him. You know, he's good.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times where people like they'll go to 0, they're being like bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know. Those stories like scare me, you know.
They are scary,
but
money is so reachable. Like you can get money. You can find money anywhere. And my brother kind of always drills that in my head because I'm always like, as we're going to get these properties, I'm like, damn, do we have the funds to do this? Like next property? Like he's like, bro, there's money everywhere. There's always money. Money's not the problem. Like we're stressing manpower before money, you know? Do we have what it takes to finish this property at a good time so we can make some good money so we're not like, you know, killing ourselves? But like money there's a ton of it to go around. Is people got to find the ways to get it. And more people are finding ways to get it. Yeah. That's like we were just talking about.
And then, I mean, when you do kind of things like that, and I assume you're talking about like hard money, I feel like with that, it's always, you know, the way to borrowing money. You know, it's a little risky and that's not for everybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Not everybody's be like, yeah, I'm going to borrow 500,000 from this hard money lender. And I'm going to do 12 and 2 and, you know, and I got to pay it back at this point. It's like, not everybody's really comfortable doing that.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of risk involved in everything. And,
but you got to do,
it takes a certain kind of person.
You got to do the math, you know, you got to make sure that what you're doing is going to be good. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this house. I'm going to flip it. But you haven't really mapped it out yet. Like what is it going to take?
Even if you ran the numbers right, if you've never done it, you don't maybe know the things that could kind of come up and this and that.
For sure.
You know, and then having the manpower, there's a lot.
That first property, that was like how it was for us, you know?
Yeah.
That first Airbnb. Yeah. Huge curves. Huge curves. You know, we had a budget set to so-and-so number and we ended up doubling it easily. You know, but we ran into a lot of things in that property. But did we quit? Did we let it steer us off the path? Absolutely not. We were just like, okay, what do we do to fix this? How do we fix this? You know, that's all we really thought about was like, okay, it's not a mistake until we can't fix it. Right. So what are we going to do? Like we can't take any steps backwards. We got to keep going forward.
We were talking about that this morning too, with like these challenges actually being opportunities, you know?
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's really true. You know, we run into problems every day here and it's just like, well, this could be an opportunity for something, you know, and we're always trying things and some things work and some things don't work.
Right.
You know, it's like, we'll spend money, we might invest in a new area. And sometimes we do it, you know, without maybe doing our due diligence. We're trying things, you know, without the data. Or I might just kind of go off intuition or like, you know, right now we're doing an internship and we rented out a place upstairs and we kind of redid it. And it looks great. You know, it's like, was that a good idea? Should I have done that? Yeah.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Oh yeah. It's pretty dope. I'll show you the place.
Dope. Oh, that's fire. I love that.
I'll show you the concept behind it and everything. But I think it's important to be trying things.
Absolutely.
You know,
got to try.
And Some things don't have an immediate ROI, and some things maybe never have an ROI. But I feel like you just got to be trying things.
How else do you learn?
Yeah, exactly.
How else do you learn?
And I'm having fun doing it.
Exactly.
So there's my
That's
ROI.
Huge. Fun. Fun.
Yeah, ROI is sometimes spelled FUN.
There you go. It's a different way.
Good.
But yeah, I like that. You gotta put that out there.
Yeah.
You have to.
Tweet that later on.
No, it's got to be on the reel. It's got to be on the reel. ROI is sometimes spelled FUN. You know what I'm saying? And then just that harsh look into the
It's gonna
camera.
be like that little emoji of SpongeBob from the fun song.
Yes, sir. Awesome.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The $3,000 tip.
Yeah, that was magical.
That was crazy.
That was magical. I was not expecting $3,000. You know, when the gentleman came up to me and was like, "Hey, I want to tip you guys," blah, blah, blah. I realized one thing with clients in the wedding industry. You have to build great rapport with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these couples, their parents are paying for the wedding.
Right.
You know, so I've noticed time over time, and the parents are the ones giving the tip.
Right.
You know, for the most part.
Yeah, and if you don't show them adequate respect, you know, it almost comes off as like an insult.
Absolutely.
It's like you're there because they paid the bill for you to be there.
Absolutely.
You know?
And they're also, some people are also, I think you kind of have to be a chameleon in a way as well. Like when you get in front of certain people, you kind of have to adapt to the way they talk maybe, or the way that they communicate. And you kind of have to give them that. For example, I did a wedding with Move Mountains. It was a backyard wedding. I did the rehearsal dinner the night before. So I went there, you know, same old me. I'm, you know, in my opinion, I'm a really good communicator. Night was going great. The dad comes in immediately. He's like, "So you put your wife's shirt on to come out tonight, right?" So I'm like, yeah, da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, I grabbed her shirt. It looks good, right? So this gentleman was like, we had a really nice conversation at the day of the wedding.
Yeah.
But for instance, I'm saying like, I had to be a chameleon there because it took all of me to not be like, "Hey buddy, you know, we don't know each other well. You should probably just leave me alone." You know, I had to just laugh and kind of just play his game, which was, "Hey, let's mess with each other a little bit."
Right.
You know, so that's what I did. I let him make a bunch of jokes about me. He had the room laughing. Everybody was laughing, kind of broke the ice for the room.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take any offense to it. I thought it was great. The next day at the wedding, we're talking and he's like, "Hey, I just want to thank you. You've been amazing. You know, you're a great guy. I thought I could break you yesterday, but you don't crack, huh?" And I was like, "Nah, man, you know, this is, you know, I was in the construction industry for 10 years. So I've dealt with a lot of that. But the guy ended up giving me like a $500 tip.
Wow.
So it just goes to show you, like, don't take things personal, obviously, and then kind of feed off of someone else's energy, especially with parents, like with the clients. Just kind of, you always got to show full respect to them. You always got to be great communicators with the parents, acknowledge them in every possible way that you can. You know, I think that for me is my goal going into this season, is like, you know, make sure you build that great rapport with everybody, aunties, uncles, parents, the couple, of course, but, you know, don't just be a fly on the wall taking pictures. Right. You know, bring your personality and communicate well.
Those are like your future clients and your future referrals. And I always say that to the team, like every hand you shake is an opportunity. You never know who's listening. You never know who's there, you know?
Absolutely.
You could be in the room and we're shooting a lot of high-end venues, and, you know, you could be, we've been at a couple weddings that there was like a famous designer. I had no idea. Right. Famous authors, football players, which I don't follow football too much. So it's like, but you just never know. And it's true. It's like, there's a lot of parts of the wedding day that can be stressful, you know, whether it be the timeline or, you know, the team member or, you know, whatever. You have to kind of like learn how to roll with the punches, and I don't always make it. Sometimes I you know, do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. But I do try to keep it 100, like all the time, and really just kind of stay on. Yeah, for sure. It's about like kind of like staying on. Yep. You're like in a roll almost. Yeah. And it's like a friend of everybody, trying to keep the energy up, trying to keep it positive, trying to keep it moving. And you could tell that they get super impressed with us, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, wow. Like, because when you hear photography or a photographer,
you're like, yeah, they're going to come in. Like maybe they've had an experience where a photographer just came in, took photos, barely talked. Hey, whatever. We bring a different energy, you know, we bring a complete different energy. When we step in the building, you know, we're dressed well, people know we're there. We're taking pictures, but we're helping with everything that we possibly can.
Yeah.
And, also you bring in your own personality to that, you know, that equation, and it ends up being great. You know, like I said, certain people are certain ways, and certain people have different personalities. So I try to always kind of adapt to what that personality is. It might be different than my personality, but if I can make them feel more comfortable, if I can make them enjoy the wedding a little bit more, if we can laugh together, all these things are huge if you want to, you know, get a $3,000 tip.
Right. And the context is that we got a $3,000 tip,
which is pretty wild.
Yeah. Which is nuts. It's never happened that, you know, I think we've gotten a 3, right? You know, anytime you get like $100 a piece is that's a nice tip. You know, you feel good walking out with that.
Absolutely.
The $500 tip is really nice. I know Josh has gotten tips like pretty well at an engagement session.
Me and Josh together, Eric and Alec, the couple that you texted me about the other night, you asked me if I shot them. You said you liked the gallery. $300 tip. Kid pulled right out of his pocket. He had such an amazing time. Yeah. You know, because photos are scary.
Yeah.
So you get a couple that's like, oh my God, like they're stressing out over photos, right? Especially the man. The man's like, God,
right.
You know, I'm dreading this. The woman's like, I want these to be perfect.
Right.
So if you make them feel extremely comfortable, they feel great, they're looking great, you know, you make the night breeze by for them. You show them some photos, maybe some raws. They look phenomenal. They're like, wow, this is amazing. Like I've had such an amazing time. Yeah. They want to tip you. They're like, this was a lot more than I thought was going to happen.
And I do feel like photography is innately intimate.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you're kind of putting them in the environment, you know, to like reconnect with each other,
right?
Like a different level.
Absolutely.
And it can be very fun.
Yeah.
I find a lot of engagement sessions, I'm connecting with them really well, and it's really fun. And you know, I think for them, it's almost like I would encourage couples once in a while.
Do it more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do it more. Like
get
nice
some photos
night,
done.
You know?
Absolutely.
Go get some photos done, you know, family photos. You know, it's maybe with kids, it's a little bit tough, but you know.
Yeah, I think you're completely right though.
I think it's a really good experience.
Good refresher. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to more weddings, more engagement sessions. I like meeting people and especially when you get people that actually love each other, you know, you can tell.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Some people like, you kind of get the sense they've been together.
Right. Just kind of hanging out for years.
For a long time.
You guys been friends for a while, huh? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It is nice, like the young love, or like just get that spark, and you know, they're excited, they're getting married, and you know, it's special.
Yeah, it is. And I disclaimer, not every couple is like this. I mean, I'm sure, you know, you've dealt with and I've dealt with like super dry, just like, hey, take these photos, hurry up so I can get out of here kind of deal. So.
Yeah, that's its own podcast. That's a different podcast.
Terrible couples. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, cool. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been, I think, a great episode. And
sure, bro.
I think a lot of value for the viewers from this. So I appreciate you coming down. And next time, you know, we'll have to get your brother out here.
Coco.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
for being here.
You want to say anything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was okay.
But no, this has been cool, and we should do another episode.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think once my business, you know, flourishes more, maybe like 37 years from now, we should definitely.
Why don't you do like where they can find you, that kind of thing?
All right. Yeah.
Pacheco portraits.
It's Pacheco portraits. PachecoPortraits.com is the website.
And the Instagram?
And the Instagram is Pacheco_portraits as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Right on.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Ears are sweating.
Oh.